They don't want that free blues. Yo, welcome back to Free Blues Boxing. Hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell for unlimited boxing content. We are Bike. Yo, what up, and welcome back, World of Boxing. Now the current unified champion, Josh Taylor, defeats Jose Ramirez in a unanimous decision. This just took place just this last Saturday. It was an action-packed fight. Josh Taylor knocked Jose Ramirez twice in both the 6th and the 7th round. In the 6th round, Josh Taylor had a beautiful counter left hand that knocked Jose Ramirez to the canvas. Then the next round, out of a scruffle, Josh Taylor lands a beautiful uppercut the very next round. And yeah, like I said, gets the unanimous decision in a spectacular fashion. I knew Josh Taylor was the truth when he beat Regis Prograis a couple years ago, back in 2019. I believe he took his IBF belt. Regis Prograis, coming out of Louisiana, I thought he would be too much for the UK boxer. Regis Prograis was favored, at least in my opinion, for the fight. He had power, speed, but it takes more than that to beat a top-level boxer like Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, a slick southpaw, was roughing him up on the inside, and I was like, okay, if he's able to beat Regis Prograis, it's not too many fighters that can beat Josh Taylor. He is a special fighter. It would take more of a great fighter or more of a special fighter to beat a fighter like him. I knew going in this fight, Josh Taylor would get it done against Ramirez. I honestly thought he would stop him, and that's what it looked like leading up to halfway into the fight. He had Ramirez hurt bad. Ramirez, normally a pressure fighter, was not able to calculate his shots. Josh Taylor had the better jab. As you know, whoever has the better jab usually is the better man in the fight. And another thing I forgot about Josh Taylor, he really gets leverage on those punches. He has snap. He has power. In my opinion, I would argue he's like the junior welterweight Vasily Lomachenko, just like they were calling Lomachenko the Matrix. To be honest, Josh Taylor, he has this code, and it's going to take a special fighter to crack it. Now, I was shocked Josh Taylor called out the pound-for-pound king, Terence Crawford, in his post-fight press conference. Taylor states that he wants to go up to 147 and chase Terence Crawford. He feels like it'll be a big fight, and I agree. It would be a huge fight. I don't think that Bob Arum will be able to promote it the right way. As you can see, Bob Arum is good at making fights happen, but he's not holding up his end of the bargain and not paying fighters, what they're worth. Terence Crawford is the prime example of that. He hasn't been getting his just due in the business and being with Bob Arum. To be honest, Bob Arum is failing Terence Crawford's career and not getting him to fight with the other stars across the street with PBC, Errol, Spence Jr., Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, that also had just fell out. Specifically, what burns the most is that he was supposed to get that Pacquiao fight instead of Errol Spence that was just announced recently. What's unfortunate is that specifically ESPN has been building up the Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight, and turns out, fast forward to now, that neither of the fighters want to fight each other. It's been rumors that Errol Spence, the PBC Heyman side, had offered Terence Crawford a 60-40 split to fight for Terence Crawford's WBO belt, Errol Spence Jr.'s WBC and IBF belts in a unification class pay-per-view fight. But Terence Crawford and Bob Arum wanted Errol Spence Jr. across the street to fight on the ESPN Plus platform. Now, when you ask Errol Spence Jr. about the Terence Crawford fight, he pretty much has the attitude that, nah, I don't want that fight anymore. I don't care. Basically, I have bigger fish to fry. Even though we all know that Terence Crawford is a star, since he has moved up from the junior welterweight division, currently in the welterweight division while holding the WBL strap that he defeated Jeff Horn, he has a total of 5 stoppages. He's a 6-time world champion through 3 different weight classes, and in his career he has 11 title defenses in the last 6 years. I see in a way why Terence Crawford feels as though he should be the A-side with what he has accomplished. He's obviously will go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame, being a multi-division world champion, being undisputed at 140. He thinks he should take home the bigger piece of the pie. But at the same time, I see Errol Spence's side. Errol Spence is holding more of the belts, including the WBC and the IBF. We cannot forget about Ugas, who's currently holding the WBA strap that Manny Pacquiao had vacated after he beat Keith Thurman back in 2019. Say Errol gets through past Manny Pacquiao, who's 42 years old, I believe a 8-time world champion. He has the chance to get 3 out of those 4 marbles and fighting Ugas, who is also on the PBC Al Haymon side, and having 3 or 4 of those welterweight belts. Terence Crawford holding that 4th WBO belt. They have to make this mega fight happen. Bob Arum and Al Haymon need to come to terms and make the fight that everybody wants to see. Now back to Josh Taylor, who is on the ESPN top-ranked Bob Arum side. He just beat Ramirez and is the undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world. One thing I want to mention, which is similar to Devin Haney's situation with the WBC, is that Josh Taylor's WBA belt is he's the super champion or the franchise belt. Just like when Lomachenko wasn't down to fight his mandatory Devin Haney, who was the WBC mandatory and petitioned for a franchise belt to be a franchise champion or a super champion, that pretty much left Mario Barrios able to fight for the regular WBA belt. I believe he's been holding it for a couple years now. Now he's about to fight Javonte Davis in a mega fight at the junior welterweight division. That's going to be a Showtime pay-per-view. Gervonta Tank Davis is favored to win that fight. But I think Mayweather and Al Haymon are actually trying to set up Gervonta Tank Davis to fight against a Josh Taylor for those other 3 marbles and have a real undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world. But it gets messy here because you see Josh Taylor, he's also open to fight Teofimo Lopez, who is, the ESPN undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Just like I said earlier, in my estimation, it would take a special fighter to beat a great fighter like Josh Taylor. Teofimo Lopez is one of them. You've seen what he was able to do against Lomachenko and take his marbles away. And then Josh Taylor was talking about going up, I guess obviously vacating his belt, or maybe not vacating his marbles at junior welterweight and going up to fight the star of boxing, Terence Crawford, at 147. In my opinion, going up to fight at 147 over a Gervonta Tank Davis or Teofimo Lopez at 140, Taylor will be biting off a little bit more than he could chew. Terence Crawford's a special fighter, a bigger fighter. We have been able to see what's transpired in his career and who he's been beating, such as an Amir Khan or recently a Kell Brook, and he's stopping these guys in 1 to 3 rounds. Terence Crawford would be adding more to his legacy by beating a great fighter like a Josh Taylor, but we all know he needs to get in with Sean Porter, Errol Spence Jr., but it looks like he's only going to fight the great fighters like on his side, like a Josh Taylor, or he's got to wait till Teofimo Lopez moves up. I think those are all great fights to be made. But at the same time, and I keep forgetting, Teofimo Lopez, he's about to defend his marbles against Cambosis at the lightweight division, and it's not going to be on Bob Arum's platform Top Rank. Bob Arum had offered Teofimo Lopez the minimum, like $1.2 million. And Teofimo Lopez was like, F you, I'll go fight on Triller and get $6 million. So we see where his head's at. Out of like the 4 best fighters on the Top Rank side, Terence Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez is the only one who got out of his deal. The rest seem more content. The whole boxing world wants to see all these exciting fights. Put in the comment section who you think will win, Josh Taylor versus a potential fight with Terence Crawford, the pound-for-pound king. They don't want that free blues. Yo, thank you for watching more Free Blues Boxing. Hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell for limited content. Until next time.